Trump is taking aim at Wall Street's grip on the housing market. For many years now, corporate giants have been snatching up single-family homes, making it difficult for the average consumer to purchase a home to live in. But if Trump has his way, all of that's about to stop. You see, his goal is to make homes more affordable, and it's not just taking on the corporate giants of Wall Street snatching up these properties. It's actually a multitude of things called the Road Home Act bill that they're hoping to put into place. They've submitted everything, and of course it has to be voted on to be put into place. However, it's important to understand this, that for nearly 100 years, buying a home and owning a home has not only been the American dream, it's been the #1 wealth builder for people in this country. That's right, not the stock market. Actually owning and buying a home just to live in has built more wealth. So I have a question for you. How is this corporate greed? Some call it corporate greed, some call it just investing in real estate. We have a free country, right? How is that affecting home prices? I'm sure you will agree, some people say it's not affecting home prices, some people say it does affect home prices. Give me your opinion, because your voice does matter. How it affects home prices is this. Years ago, there was a gentleman by the name of Warren Buffett. You're not familiar or know Warren Buffett, he's one of the wealthiest men in the United States. Warren Buffett said years ago in 2012, one of the best things to purchase and invest in is single-family homes. And when Warren Buffett talks, people with money and large corporations, they listen. And what they heard was Warren Buffett said single-family homes with cheap financing and long-term holdings is even a better opportunity than the stock market. And so the buying up of homes by corporations began. Now go with me here. More people buying homes, that means that prices do what? They go up, just like any commodity. Doesn't matter what it is. It's no different than groceries right now are really expensive. You have to understand, for 4 years, there's 20 million more people in this country. That's like the size of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. So we went from 50 states to 53 states. Yeah, everybody that's in this country now that just came into the country have to have food, clothing, shelter, water, right? Everything goes up. Same thing with houses. So now you had corporate companies buying these homes. In 2012, when Warren Buffett said that, it was around 15% of those homes were being purchased, not just by corporate investors, but by just investors that were buying houses not to be their personal residence. It might have been one person buying one house, one person buying 2 or 3 houses, but it's just not corporate buying at that 15%. However, that number really started to increase as the years progressed. And as the result, you not only had corporations buying houses, individuals maybe like yourself buying houses, or like you want to purchase a house, then a company came along called Airbnb. Now Airbnb made the notion to everybody that you can buy a house and then rent it by the week instead of the month. And when you rent something by the week instead of the month, you're going to make pretty much triple the money. And guess where people flock to buy those houses? In vacation areas. As a result, we see a lot of homes that are coming back on the market right now in Florida. The housing market is pretty stable overall around the United States, but we're seeing more homes come on the market. You may see that if you're in Texas, Florida, California, so give me a thumbs up. And those prices, as more homes come on the market, they will come down a little bit until the buyers start to purchase those properties. So as the result, when you take out corporate buying, you have more homes on the market. When there's more homes on the market, it creates stability in prices. And look, don't get me wrong, I bought a house one time, lived in it 2 years, sold it, I made $95,000. That's wonderful, you can do that. I did that by accident, and I'm a real estate broker, been in this business for 30 years, right? That doesn't happen all the time. So people have to understand that when you buy a house, it doesn't have to be difficult. It is an asset that you're going to hang on to and you're going to hold on to. And sure, it's a liability in terms of you got to have insurance. The roof may have a leak. Your central heat and air may go out. And that's why I tell people put warranties on these properties that you buy at your personal residence. And then also do a home inspection on the house that you buy. But you're going to have to pay something anyway. And most people truly do want to purchase a house. But by eliminating corporate buyers from buying homes, it will absolutely make an impact on home prices. How much? Only time will tell. Now here's a statistic that you'll probably find pretty interesting. Airbnb, they don't own real estate. They don't own real estate. They're a website. And they tell people, and they work it to where you buy a house and use the Airbnb and you can put your house on there for sale. Guess what? This is a pretty cool statistic. Guess how much Airbnb is evaluated $74 billion. I'm sorry I didn't give you a whole lot of time to guess, but $74 billion. And it's just a company that started, I think, in 2009, 2008, 2009. The point I'm trying to make is you have a lot of people that have purchased houses in these areas, and those homes we're seeing to come on the market. But what you have to understand is when Warren Buffett said that, then people started buying homes. And when people started buying homes, more people started buying homes. And you have to understand too that they kept the interest rates so low for so long. You see, mortgage interest rates never went above 5.25% for 13 years. Literally from 2009 to 2023, I think it's 13 years, 14 years, correct me if I'm wrong. Interest rates never went above 5.25%. The result is you have 67% of the people that have a mortgage on their home have less than a 5.25% rate. People are what I call equity rich. In other words, what they bought their home for, they've paid down their balance. Now what that home is worth, that's your equity. And people have a lot of equity in their homes. And as a result of that, with the low rate, not too many people are moving. But you know, something that's really important to know is that in 2022, the percentage of people that were actually purchasing homes that were real estate investors. So they invested in real estate. It might have been a mom and pop, so to speak, where you just bought 1 or 2 houses that year and you invested, or you might have been a corporate. That total, in other words, they weren't buying houses to live in, was 28%. So you have 28% of the people. Now don't get me wrong, I love real estate. I'm sure you'll agree. If so, give me a thumbs up. Buying real estate is a means of which to build wealth. It's an asset. It goes up in value, right? But you have to also understand that that 28% in 2022 equated to 1.4 million homes. 1.4 million homes. So if Trump bans that, he's not going to ban it for, say, the mom and pop. And we don't know where the cutoff is. Is it somebody or a corporation, if you will, not just somebody, but a corporation that say they buy 500 homes a year or 100 homes a year? What the cutoff is going to be, I don't know, but I can tell you that he's going at it pretty bullishly to get this to where corporate people, buyers, companies cannot purchase homes. And maybe that'll only go on for a year or 2 or 3, but I know he's pretty strong right now in doing that because you no longer are going to have to compete if he gets this passed, and he's pushing hard, you're no longer going to have to compete with a cash corporate buyer and missing out on a home. And let me tell you, I've been in this business, as I'd mentioned, for a long time. And I have had many buyers miss out on homes. Maybe you're one of them. If so, give me a thumbs up. Feel free to tell your story where you were getting a mortgage, but a company corporation came in and bought a home for cash that looked more appealing to the seller, and you lost the home. Now, regardless of your political beliefs, this is good for everybody. He's calling on Congress to put it into law. And if he does, that means we're going to see roughly 1 million more homes that are on the market, for example, that wouldn't be purchased by large corporations. I mean, you have like large corporate builders, for example, that would contract with large corporations to build homes. So a lot of people say, well, that's already contracted anyway. No, you don't understand. If the large corporations were not there to buy those homes, that builder wouldn't be building homes for that large corporation. They'd be building them for you to purchase. But what's exciting is there's more to it than that. There's the Road Housing Act that they are looking to put into place. And if they do that, it's going to change zoning laws. It's going to change permitting laws. It's going to allow things to be easier. They're looking to give a little bit of tax advantages to home builders, tax advantages and grants to cities. So a lot of this is looking to change so the savings can be passed down to you, the consumer. What it boils down to, it all has to be done. The good thing is that Trump's going to meet January 23rd in Switzerland at the World Economic Forum, and he's going to explain and share even more of what he plans on doing. And I'm sure if you're like me, you're going to be excited to know what he's thinking next. Now, something else that you probably heard of, I did a video, and I'll be glad to link it down below, or you can go to WayneTurnerTV.com and check out that video. But I did a 50-year mortgage video, and that's appealing to some people. Some people say it would be a disaster. You can always buy the house and refinance, but that's going to be one of those things where you don't know what they're going to charge you in the interest rate. If they charge you a much higher interest rate, like the difference between a 15-year and a 30-year, you have a higher interest rate, typically 3/4 to 1 percentage point more between a 15 and a 30. And so, for example, if the rates were 6.25% and you do a 50-year, And by the 50 year, they charge you 1 to 1.25 percentage point more. You're talking 7.25, 7.5%. Will that really even save you any money? Like, is $40 a month or $80 a month even worth doing a 50-year mortgage? I don't think so personally, but that's just another thing that they're looking at and considering. Another thing is they're looking at transferring your loan from one house to another house if you move up, for example. So in other words, you could keep your loan, you could keep your mortgage rate most importantly, and you could transfer that money, in other words, from one house to another. Now, I have my opinion on it. I think one of the things that they need to change, because they put this into place, I think in 1997, is the capital gains. I personally don't think there should be any capital gains on your personal home. I think that's ridiculous. That's my home. I bought it just because I make money off of it. Shouldn't have to give the government my money. That's Wayne Turner's opinion. Everybody's got them. They're like noses. But right now, if you make over $500,000, and keep in mind that the average sales price of a home in this country, median price is $435,000. If you sell a house and you have $500,000 gain, in other words, you bought it for $100,000, and you sold it for $6,000 and you made $500,000, and you're a married couple, you got to pay taxes on that money. I don't think you should. What do you think? Give me your comment, thumbs up, chime in, your voice matters. So tell me what you think. Give me your opinion, because like I said, your voice does matter. It's starting to rain on me, so I got to get out of here. And listen, I just learned something the other day. 59% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribing to my channel. So it doesn't cost anything. It's completely free. I'm out here in the rain. Least you can do is just click the subscribe button. I'm just joking. You want to do that if you like my channel. Give me a thumbs up. And most importantly, whoever you think would benefit from this information, click the share button, text it to them, email it to them, and say, hey, this guy right here, he knows what he's doing. He's got some good stuff. Until next time, thank you and God bless.